What a man does after intimacy tells you more than what he whispered before it. When the lights are dim, when passion has burned through the room, when words have been spoken and promises floated like smoke, then comes the silence. That silence is not empty. That silence speaks. That silence is his truth. Because anyone can rehearse lines, anyone can fake interest when desire is raging, but no one can fake what they feel once the fire settles. What he really thinks of you is revealed not in the act, but in the aftermath. If he turns distant, it isn't because he suddenly changed. It is because you have just glimpsed who he truly is. The mask drops after intimacy. The performance ends. You see the unfiltered script he has been hiding, and here is the brutal reality. Some men seek intimacy not as a bridge to your soul, but as a conquest for their ego. And you must understand this. Desire without respect is emptiness. It feels good in the moment, but it leaves you with nothing to hold afterward. If a man's actions shrink once the passion fades, if he cannot stand in the light with the same presence he showed in the dark, then intimacy was never a bond, it was a transaction. And if you accept that transaction, you are teaching him what you will tolerate. You are giving him permission to repeat the pattern. Do not miss this. Your worth is not determined by how he treats you after intimacy. It is revealed by how you respond to his treatment, his withdrawal, his excuses, his silence. These are his choices, not reflections of your value. The moment you start asking, can't you, why am I not enough? You are already surrendering your power. The right question is, why would I waste myself on someone who shows me so little? Because here is the truth most avoid. Intimacy is an amplifier. It doesn't create character, it exposes it. If he values you, intimacy will deepen that value. He will lean closer, not away. He will protect the connection, not sabotage it. If he only valued the chase, intimacy will expose the hollowness of his pursuit. And this is where strength is tested, not in the act of giving yourself to him, but in the discipline to walk away when his response reveals his emptiness. So what must you do? You must anchor yourself in non-negotiables. You must decide in advance that your soul, your body, your dignity are not open for bargaining. You must see clearly that the one who pulls away after intimacy has shown his true hand. And you must have the courage to refuse him, not once, not twice, but forever. Because every time you excuse his distance, you lower your own standard. Every time you chase his silence, you diminish your own power. Every time you accept his crumbs, you teach him that you don't need the feast. The power is not in what you endure. The power is in what you refuse to endure again. And so I say this to you, when a man reveals himself in the aftermath, do not cling to what he said before. Words are wind, behavior is truth. If he reach, as for you with tenderness, if he honors the moment, if he shows consistency, then intimacy was a bridge to growth. But if he recoils, if he dismisses, if he grows cold, then intimacy was only the stage where he played his role, and you must end the play. Listen carefully, your greatest danger is not that he doesn't care. Your greatest danger is that you will see he doesn't care and convince yourself otherwise. That is how women lose years. That is how strength is drained. That is how dignity erodes. Not in one choice, but in repeated justifications. And yet you hold the solution. You hold the refusal. You hold the boundary that separates love from use, respect from neglect, truth from lies. So let him reveal himself after intimacy. Let his silence or his presence teach you who he really is. And then, do not argue with reality. Do not beg it to change. Do not dress it up with excuses. Stand in it, accept it, act on it, because intimacy without respect is not love. It is self-betrayal, because your worth is not what he feels in a heated moment. It is what you demand in the cold light after, because your future cannot begin until you stop rewarding behavior that insults your soul. What he really feels and thinks after being intimate with you is not a mystery. It is written in his actions. It is written in his presence or his absence. And the choice before you is not whether he stays or leaves. The choice is whether you betray yourself or protect yourself. And the highest form of self-respect is simple. If he cannot value you after intimacy, he does not deserve intimacy with you. That is the truth. And if you dare to live by it, You will never again mistake desire for devotion. It is easy to speak. It is easy to promise. It is easy to perform when desire burns hot and adrenaline pushes the tongue into action. Words can be rehearsed. Lines can be borrowed. Intentions can be faked. But intimacy, real closeness, the raw exposure of self, has no rehearsal. It exposes the unvarnished reality of who a person is. And it is in that aftermath, not in the build-up, where you discover the truth. The test is not in what someone says before intimacy. The test is in what they do after. Before, anyone can play a role. Anyone can wear a mask. But when the moment is over, when the ego is no longer hunting, when the chase has concluded, you see who they are without performance. That is where the mask slips. That is where the character is revealed. Intimacy strips away illusion and leaves only truth behind. If his words were deep but his actions shallow afterward, then those words were lies. If he promised closeness but delivered distance, then the intimacy was not a bond but a transaction. If he vanishes after having you, it was never about connection. It was about conquest. This is not cruelty from the universe. This is revelation. And revelation is a gift, because the sooner you see who someone really is, the sooner you can refuse to betray yourself by investing in an illusion. Understand this: desire without respect is emptiness. The fire of passion feels consuming in the moment. But if there is no respect, no intention to stay, no effort to nurture, then the flame burns out and leaves only ash. And when you wake up in that ash, do not mistake it for proof of your unworthiness. His retreat is not evidence of your lack of value. It is evidence of his lack of depth. The real danger is not his actions. The real danger is your willingness to rationalize them. You see the truth, but you convince yourself it is something else. You call his silence tan space. You call his inconsistency confusion. You call his detachment tan stress. No, it is none of those things. It is his truth revealed by intimacy. And if you continue to deny it, you are not protecting him. You are betraying yourself. Your value is not determined by his recognition of it. Your value is determined by the standard you hold. Every time you accept neglect, you declare yourself unworthy of more. Every time you chase his indifference, you train yourself to believe crumbs are a feast. Every time you stay silent in the face of his withdrawal, you silence your own power. And this is why intimacy matters so deeply. Not because of the act itself, but because of what it shows you about him and what it demands from you. So the question is not, what does he feel about me? The question is, what do I do with what he has revealed? Because intimacy is not just a window into his truth, it is a mirror for your strength. Will you stand firm in what you deserve, or will you collapse into the false hope that his emptiness will one day fill you? This is where courage matters. It is not courageous to give yourself away in the heat of passion. It is courageous to walk away in the cold of disappointment. It is not courageous to tolerate disrespect because you fear being alone. It is courageous to demand more, even if it means standing alone until more arrives. Strength is not in how much you endure, it is in how much you refuse to endure again. Intimacy reveals truth, not words. His truth is shown in whether he draws nearer or drifts away. His truth is seen in whether he honors the connection or discards it. And your truth is shown in whether you allow it to continue or demand better. Never confuse desire for devotion. Never confuse physical closeness for emotional investment. Never confuse what he said before for what he shows after. If he values you, intimacy will not make him distant. It will make him present. If he respects you, intimacy will not shrink him. It will deepen him. If he cares, the aftermath will not be silence. It will be consistency. The moment you learn to see intimacy as revelation rather than validation, you stop giving your soul to those unworthy of it. You stop mistaking lust for love. You stop tolerating men who only know how to take and never how to give. And that is where your power begins, because your future is not shaped by what he thinks of you. It is shaped by what you refuse to accept from him. Your dignity is not protected by his presence. It is protected by your boundary. And your worth is not defined by whether he stays after intimacy. It is defined by your refusal to be diminished if he doesn't. So let intimacy do what it was always meant to do, reveal the truth. And when the truth appears, do not fight it. Do not beg it to change. Do not pretend it is something else. Face it, accept it, act on it. Because when you build your life on truth, you stop being deceived by words. And when you stop being deceived by words, you rise into a strength that cannot be broken. Intimacy reveals truth, not words. And once you understand that, you will never again confuse passion for love, presence for permanence, or desire for devotion. You will see clearly, act boldly, and protect fiercely. That is the path of strength, that is the price of dignity, and that is the life you deserve. The fire of desire can make you feel alive. It can burn through your body with intensity, convincing you that what you feel is connection, that what you hold is love. But when desire exists without respect, it is a hollow fire, one that burns hot and dies quickly, leaving behind nothing but ash. Do not confuse the intensity of want with the stability of value. Anyone can want you in the heat of the moment. That requires nothing but impulse. But to respect you, to honor your boundaries, to remain consistent, to treat you as a human being with worth, that is rare. That requires character. Desire without respect is not love, not commitment, not even affection. It is appetite disguised as intimacy. The danger is that many people are deceived by the intensity of desire. They think, if he wants me this much, it must mean something deeper. But want by itself is cheap. It does not cost him anything to want you. What costs him something is to respect you, to invest in you, to stay present when passion fades. Respect is the currency of real connection. Without it, desire is nothing more than a temporary hunger that leaves you empty once it's fed. And here's the hard truth. If you allow yourself to believe that desire is enough, you will trade away your worth for scraps of attention. You will convince yourself that passion equals value, when in reality passion without respect diminishes value. You will wake up in disappointment, asking why he pulled away, why he changed, why he was different after intimacy. He did not change, he revealed himself. He showed you that his desire was shallow, and because there was no respect underneath it, it could not sustain anything lasting. Respect is what anchors intimacy. It is what turns desire from consumption into connection. A man who respects you will not disappear when he has satisfied his hunger. He will not treat you as an object of convenience. He will not make excuses when the chase is over. Respect makes him careful with you, attentive to you, invested in you. Without respect, desire consumes you. With respect, desire grows you. You must not fall into the trap of chasing desire. Chasing desire makes you dependent. It ties your worth to whether someone feels passion for you in the moment. But strength means demanding more than being wanted. It means requiring to be valued. It means saying no to those who approach you with intensity but no integrity. It means recognizing that respect is not optional, it is essential. Your power is not in how much desire you can inspire. Your power is in the standard you hold. If you demand respect, then intimacy deepens connection. If you settle for desire alone, intimacy empties you. And once you are emptied, you will try to refill yourself with more of the same emptiness. That is how cycles of heartbreak are born. Not through betrayal alone, but through the self-betrayal of settling for less than respect. You cannot build a future on desire without respect. Desire fades. Desire shifts. Desire changes with mood and circumstance. But respect is constant. Respect is the glue that makes a bond endure, even when passion weakens. If someone respects you, they will show up when it is inconvenient. They will honor you when no one is watching. They will treat you with dignity even when the fire is not burning. So look closely at the one who desires you. Ask yourself, does his desire come with respect, or is it only appetite? Watch how he speaks to you after intimacy. Watch how he shows up when you set a boundary. Watch how he treats you when you are not giving him what he wants. That is where respect, or the lack of it, will be revealed. If you discover that there is only desire, do not cling to it. Do not chase after the empty fire, hoping it will transform into something deeper. It won't. Desire without respect does not grow into love. It collapses into regret, and regret will cost you years if you refuse to see it for what it is. The strength you need is the strength to walk away when respect is absent. The courage you need is the courage to demand more than appetite. The wisdom you need is the wisdom to know that intensity is not intimacy, because intimacy without respect is not closeness, it is use, and the one who uses you will never value you. So set the standard, make respect the non-negotiable. Let desire be the flame, but let respect be the foundation. If someone cannot give you both, then they do not deserve you at all, because you are not meant to be consumed and discarded. You are meant to be valued and chosen. Desire without respect is emptiness, but desire with respect is fullness. It is devotion, it is depth, it is the beginning of something lasting. And until you demand that combination, you will continue to confuse heat for warmth, passion for love, and want for worth. Do not betray yourself for the illusion of connection. See the truth, stand in it, and act with strength. Because you deserve more than desire. You deserve respect. And when you finally accept no, thing less, you will stop living in emptiness and start building a life of fullness. The moment you begin to argue for your own value, you have already lost. The moment you plead, persuade, or prove yourself to someone who cannot see you, you have stepped off the ground of strength and placed yourself in the hands of someone who has no right to hold you. Your worth is not a bargain to be struck. It is not a discount to be offered. It is not a sale to be advertised. It is fixed, unchanging, undeniable. When you forget this, you hand away your power. You start lowering your boundaries to keep someone close. You start tolerating neglect because you fear being alone. You start excusing disrespect because you crave attention. And slowly, piece by piece, you chip away at your dignity until you wake up one day realizing that you gave discounts on something that was never supposed to be for sale. Let me be blunt. If someone does not recognize your value, that is their blindness, not your deficiency. If someone treats you as disposable, that is their poverty of character, not proof that you are lacking. But if you allow yourself to stay, if you beg them to see what they refuse to see, you become complicit in your own diminishment. You have made your worth negotiable, and the cost will be your peace, your time, and your soul. Strength demands a different posture. Strength refuses to beg for recognition. Strength does not tolerate crumbs when it knows it is the feast. Strength does not explain, justify, or audition for a role in someone's life who is too blind to see what stands before them. Strength knows this truth. What is valuable does not chase, it chooses. And here's the paradox. The more you negotiate your worth, the less it is seen. The more you beg, the less you are respected. The more you justify, the more you prove you are willing to be devalued. Respect comes not from convincing others, but from refusing to diminish yourself. Think of it this way. Gold does not argue with those who call it worthless. A diamond does not prove itself to those who cannot recognize its brilliance. Their value is inherent, whether recognized or not, and the one who knows their value walks away from those who cannot see it, because the refusal to stay where you are unseen is the ultimate declaration of worth. Many stay trapped in relationships, jobs, friendships where they are not valued, hoping that time will change perception. But time does not create respect, behavior does. And if his behavior shows neglect, if his behavior shows indifference, if his behavior shows disregard, then no amount of waiting will transform it into devotion. The only transformation possible is the one you make within yourself. The shift from begging to refusing, from negotiating to declaring, from tolerating to walking away. Your worth is not up for negotiation. Not with a partner, not with friends, not with family, not with society, and certainly not with yourself. The moment you decide you must prove yourself to be loved, you have placed love on the wrong foundation. Love is not earned through begging. It is recognized through presence, respect, and consistency. Anything else is manipulation. The greatest danger is not the person who devalues you. The greatest danger is you convincing yourself to stay despite being devalued. That is how lives are wasted. That is how dreams are buried. That is how strength is drained, and the longer you stay in negotiation, the more you Without refusal is not strength, it is self-betrayal. A person who endures everything accepts anything, and the cost of accepting anything is the destruction of your self-respect. Your life will rise to the level of your refusals. If you refuse disrespect, you will only allow respect into your life. If you refuse dishonesty, you will only attract truth. If you refuse to be treated as an option, you will only remain where you are valued as a priority. But if you accept disrespect, you teach others to continue it. If you accept dishonesty, you invite more lies. If you accept neglect, you become complicit in your own diminishing. The hardest truth to face is this: people do not treat you according to what you deserve. They treat you according to what you accept. That is why refusal is power. It is the language that teaches others how far they can go with you. Every time you draw a line and enforce it, you raise your value in the world. Every time you stay silent when boundaries are crossed, you lower it. Refusal is not anger. Refusal is not bitterness. Refusal is clarity. It is the declaration that your life is too valuable to be wasted on what drains it. It is the understanding that every no to what harms you is a louder LAS to what grows you. And without the courage to refuse, you will never have space to receive what is worthy of you. Think about it. The wrong relationship ends when you refuse to be treated as disposable. The toxic friendship ends when you refuse to be manipulated. The draining job ends when you refuse to keep selling your soul for security. And every ending created by refusal is also a beginning, because you cannot step into your future until you refuse to remain in your past. But here is where many people falter. They fear refusal. They fear losing someone. They fear standing alone. They fear judgment. So they accept what breaks them rather than refusing it. They would rather cling to something destructive than risk standing in the emptiness of release. But that emptiness is not destruction. It is freedom. It is the clearing that allows something better to enter. You must learn this. What you refuse is what shapes your destiny. Refuse to settle, and life will eventually meet you at your standard. Refuse to remain silent, and truth will become your ally. Refuse to betray yourself, and strength will become your identity. It is not what you accept that makes you powerful. It is what you refuse to accept ever again. So ask yourself right now, what have I been tolerating that is destroying me? Where have I been negotiating my worth? Where have I been staying silent when I should have spoken? Where have I been settling for crumbs when I deserve the table? These are not small questions. The answers to them will define the entire course of your life. Courage does not always look like fighting. Sometimes courage looks like leaving. Sometimes courage looks like silence. Sometimes courage looks like the word no. Do not underestimate the power of refusal. One refusal can break a cycle that years of endurance could not. So make the decision. Refuse the disrespect. Refuse the silence that steals your voice. Refuse the chains disguised as love. Refuse the comfort that keeps you small. Refuse the lies that erode your truth. Refuse the weakness of settling for less when more is possible. Because the future you dream of is not waiting for your acceptance, it is waiting for your refusal. It will not arrive until you close the doors to what insults your dignity. It will not begin until you stop justifying what breaks your spirit. The moment you say never again, you have already stepped into a new life. Your power is in what you refuse, not in how much you can tolerate, not in how much you can endure, not in how much you can bend. Your power is in your boundaries. Your power is in your courage. Your power is in your refusal to be less than what you were meant to be. And when you finally learn to refuse what weakens you, you will discover something extraordinary. You will no longer have to chase respect, love, or dignity. They will be the only things that remain because you refuse to let anything else stay. Not in what you accept, not in what you endure, not in what you beg for, but in what you refuse to tolerate one more day. Life will hand you situations, people, and choices that test you. Some will offer comfort but cost you dignity. Some will bring desire but strip away respect. Some will disguise themselves as love but drain the very core of who you are. And every time, your strength will not be defined by how much you can take. It will be defined by what you decide to reject. Look at your life. The moments you grew, the turning points that shaped you, were never when you accepted everything as it was. They came when you drew a line, when you said, "I enough," when you refused to carry someone else's disrespect any longer, when you refused to keep betraying yourself for temporary comfort, when you refused to be blind to truth. Those refusals, not your acceptances, carved your character. The world lies to you about strength. It tells you endurance is noble, that if you can keep absorbing pain, you are loyal, that if you tolerate neglect, you are patient, that if you survive abuse, you are resilient. But endurance without refusal is not strength, it is surrender. If you carry poison long enough, it doesn't make you strong, it makes you sick. Real power is the courage to put it down. Every refusal is a declaration. Refusing disrespect declares, "I know my worth." Refusing dishonesty declares, "I value truth over comfort." Refusing neglect declares, "I will not be treated as optional." And each refusal builds a wall around your dignity, a shield around your spirit. Without refusal, you are a door left open for anyone to walk through. With refusal, you become a fortress no one can violate. People treat you according to the standard you enforce, not the one you imagine. If you accept crumbs, they will give you crumbs. If you accept silence where honesty is due, they will keep you in the dark. If you accept being second choice, they will never make you first. But the moment you refuse, the moment you walk away from the table that only offers scraps, you raise your value, not in their eyes, but in your own. And that is where the deepest transformation begins, not in convincing others to change, but in changing what you allow. You cannot control what someone else does, but you can control whether you stay when they do it. You cannot control their treatment, but you can control your tolerance. And tolerance of disrespect is silent permission. Refusal is not bitterness. Refusal is not hate. Refusal is clarity. It is self-respect in action. It is the refusal to build your life on illusions, on excuses, on false hope. It is the decision to stop negotiating your worth with people who will never see it. Every no way you say to what breaks you is also a way yes to what will build you. The problem is fear. Fear makes people accept what destroys them. Fear of being alone, fear of starting over, fear of judgment, so they endure abuse rather than refuse it. They chase those who left rather than refuse neglect. They keep silent rather than refuse lies. But fear does not protect you. It imprisons you. What you fear losing by refusing was never real gain in the first place, because anything that requires you to diminish yourself to keep it is not a gift, it is a trap. Refusal unlocks freedom. Refuse the wrong relationship and you create room for the right one. Refuse the toxic friendship and you reclaim peace. Refuse the soul-draining job and you open space for a purpose that fits your calling. Every refusal clears the ground for something greater. That is why weak people accept and strong people refuse, because strength knows you cannot step into a new life while still clutching the old chains. So ask yourself, what are you still accepting that is destroying you? What boundaries have you drawn but never enforced? Where are you still silent when you should have spoken? Where are you still bargaining with your dignity? These questions matter because your destiny is hidden in your answers. Courage is not always loud. Sometimes it is as simple as a single word: no. No, I will not tolerate this treatment. No, I will not shrink myself to be loved. No, I will not betray my truth for your comfort. No, I will not keep giving chances to those who waste them. Each no is a key that unlocks a prison door. Remember this, the wrong life ends not when you cry about it, but when you refuse to keep living it. The wrong relationship ends not when you hope it changes, but when you refuse to remain. The wrong story ends the moment you stop turning its pages. Your power is in what you refuse, in your boundaries, in your courage, in your non-negotiables. And when you finally learn to refuse everything that insults your soul, you will discover you no longer need to chase respect, love, or peace. They will surround you because you cleared away everything that stood in their place. So rise, refuse the lesser life, refuse the smaller story, refuse the chains disguised as comfort. Refuse the crumbs when you were made for the feast, because the future belongs not to those who accept everything, but to those who refuse what diminishes them. And the day you understand that truth is the day you step into unshakable strength.